You're welcome, our dear student, in this new episode from your program Madrasa على الهواء. Today we're going to talk about lesson 3, unit 2, heat energy. Okay, today we're going to talk about unit 2, lesson 3, heat energy, as you see on the monitor. What's meant by heat energy? What's meant by heat energy? First, if we want to make friction between the two hands, what can you feel? You feel heat. Oh, it's hot. Why? Because mechanical energy, here kinetic, mechanical energy changes into heat. Remember, my dear students, in winter, in the morning, when you feel cold, you can make this friction and you feel hot because mechanical energy changes into heat. And by using the stick of matches, and you make friction to get heat, then to make fire. So mechanical energy changes into heat energy by what? By friction. Okay. So number one, you feel hot on rubbing your hands together. Okay. Number two, the nail gets hot when you pull it out from a thick wooden piece. You feel it hot. Number three, burning of a matchstick when it contacts with a rough surface. Why? He can ask you a question, give reason for you feel hot on rubbing your hands together, or the nail gets hot when you pull it out from a thick wooden piece, or burning a matchstick when it contacts with a rough surface. The answer is because mechanical energy changes into heat energy by friction. But now, what's meant by heat? What's meant by heat? As we studied before in last years, we studied about energy and forms of energy. We studied about light energy, sound energy, heat energy, chemical, and so on. Light energy, we can see light. We can see this type of energy. It affects on eye. And sound energy affects on ear. So we can hear the sound. But can you see heat? No, you can't see heat. But you can feel it. When you touch a hot cup of tea, you feel hot. Why? Because heat transfers from the hot cup of tea to your hand. And when you touch a cup of ice, you feel cold. Give reason? Because heat transfers from your hand to the ice. So you feel no heat in your hand. Heat means something, but cold means nothing. Cold means no heat, no existence of heat. So when you touch a hot cup of tea, heat transfers from cup of tea to your hand, so you feel hot. And when you touch a cold cup of ice, you feel cold because heat transfers from your hand. So now there is no heat in your hand, so you feel it's hot. It's cold. So what's meant by heat? Heat here means a form of energy that transfers from what? From higher temperature object, the object that has higher temperature, to lower temperature object, when they connect to each other. As you see on the monitor, heat transfers from a higher temperature object to lower one. So heat energy, it is a form of energy which is transferred from an object with higher temperature to that with lower temperature. Form of energy which is transferred from an object with higher temperature as hot cup of tea to that with lower temperature as your hand. But now what's meant by temperature? We studied temperature in primary 6 before with Mr. Nader. Temperature, it was like that. It is a degree of hotness or coldness, or it is an indicator that shows the state of body from point of hotness or coldness. So it is degree, yes, it's okay. It is point of hotness or coldness, it's okay. It is indicator, yes, that's okay. And it is heat condition. Heat condition, حالة الheat, which determines the direction of heat energy, whether from or to the object when it comes in contact with another one. So suppose that my hand has temperature of 38 and your head, its temperature is 37. When I touch your hand with my your head with my hand, I feel what? Cold. Because 37 indicates, or 37 the condition of my hand that shows the direction of transferring the heat from my hand. Why from my hand? Because my hand temperature is more than your head temperature. So heat transferred from my hand to your head. If my hand temperature is 38 and your head is 37. And vice versa. If your head temperature is 38 and my hand is 37, I feel that you are hot. Because heat transfer from higher temperature, from your hand to from your head to my hand. So temperature, or 37 here, is the heat condition of body that shows the direction of transferring heat from or to the body when it connects to another one. But now let's talk about what are ways of heat transferring. Heat transfers from higher to lower. Yes, that's okay. But how? What are the ways? What are the methods? As you know, my dear student, if you have an iron rod and catch it with your hand and the other end on the stove, you feel hot because heat transferred. As we studied in primary 6, we talked about what? About the heat insulators and heat conductors. Iron is a heat conductor. So heat transfer from the higher temperature part of iron to lower. So I feel hot in my hand. Ways of heat transferring: heat transfer through different media, solid, liquid, and gas, by different ways. The way that heat transfer through solid is different from the way of transferring heat through gases, through liquids. So first one, heat transfer through solids by a way it's called conduction. Conduction comes from conduct, as heat conductors, موصلات. As you see on the monitor, please. Ways of heat transfer: heat transfers through some solids, not all solids. As you know, my dear student, wood is solid, but wood is a heat insulator. It's not heat conductor. But some solids, as iron, copper, aluminium, gold, silver, and so on. Heat transferred through these solids by conduction, as you see on the monitor, please. Transfer. What's meant by heat conduction? Transfer of heat by conduction. It is the transfer of heat through some solids. Notice again, my dear student, some solid objects from a part with higher temperature to that with lower temperature. Okay, this is called transfer of heat by conduction. Again, it is the transfer of heat through some solid objects from the part with higher temperature to that with lower temperature. As you see in these pictures, the first one, catch an iron bar with one end of its hand and the other end on the flame of candle. Heat transfer, as you see the arrow, heat transfer from the red part of iron, the part of higher temperature, to his hand to the lower temperature. And in the other picture, when this hand caught the handle that is made of aluminium, she touches, it's hot. She felt it's hot because heat transfer from higher temperature part to lower one. So aluminium or aluminum in American and aluminum in British, slang language, is used in making cooking pans, cooking pots, cooking pans, utensils. They are the same. They are equal. Cooking pans equal cooking pots equal utensils. Give reason. Aluminium is used in manufacturing. Manufacturing here means making or manufacturing. Aluminium is used in making or manufacturing cooking pans. Why? Give reason. Because aluminium is a good conductor of heat. Number 2, the second way, heat transfers through liquids by convection in gases and liquids. In solids, heat transfer through solids by what? By conduction, and by convection in gases and liquids. As you see on this picture, first one, liquid that is put on a stove and is heated. Heat transfer from the lower part, the lower molecules that gets hot, and their density increase or decrease. Yes, their density decreases, not increase, because volume increase, so density decrease, and the hot particles or hot molecules of liquid with lower density goes up, and the cold molecules with higher density falls down. So they are called current, liquid current or convection current, as you see. And by this way, if you put your finger in boiled water, you feel hot. Why? No conduction. Heat is not no conduction of heat through liquids but by convection. Heat transfer by what? By convection through liquids. So molecules of liquid with higher temperature go up, carrying the energy, carrying the heat, and lower density or molecules of lower density that are cold fall down. And the other picture, as you see, in air, in gases. The first part of air that touches the surface of earth gets hot in summer at noons, and their volume increase, so their density decrease, so they go up. Hot air goes up, hot air goes up, and cold air with higher density fall down. Heat transfer through liquids by convection in gases and liquids. So transfer of heat by convection, it is the transfer of heat in gases and liquids where hot molecules which have less density rise upwards, while colder molecules which have more density fall down. Why? Cold have more density because their volume is not big, not more. Okay? Now, as you see, my dear student, this is a refrigerator. And at the top of refrigerator, there is a freezer. Okay? The freezer is not sit down, is not sit at the bottom, but it is sit at the top of refrigerator. Give reason why? Because we need to cold the whole objects inside the refrigerator, and the freezer makes air cold, and this cold air has higher density, so they fall down and make all food cold. And in the opposite way, the electric heater is placed at the top? No, electric heater is placed at the bottom of the room. Give reason. Because hot air rises up. I wanna make the whole room is warm. So I have to put or to set the heater at the bottom of the room, because hot air go up or rise up while hot air falls down. The same question, the air conditioner is fixed at the upper part of the room. The same answer, because hot air go up or rise up, while cold air fall down. And now transferring heat by the third method is radiation. We talked about conduction in solids, convection through gases and liquids, and number 3, radiation through space and what and gases. Transferring heat by radiation doesn't need any medium, any material, any materialistic medium, but it can transfer through space. So it is the transfer of heat from a hot object to another without any need for a material, medium through which heat transfer. But sometimes it can, by this method, heat can transfer through space and through gases, As you see, my dear student, heat transfer from the sun to earth. No medium between the sun and the first part or the upper part of the atmospheric air. No, nothing. But there is space, just space. But heat comes to earth and makes us to get hot, to warm. How can heat transfer from the sun to us? By radiation, just only by radiation. So heat transfer by radiation through gases and space. Technological applications that produce heat. Let's talk about some of them. Number 1, electric heater, electric water heater, and electric stove. They are the devices that depend on what? Electricity. And electricity doesn't cause pollution of the environment. It is non-polluted. It is non-polluted. And electricity is renewable resources. It's one of renewable resources of energy. Electricity is a renewable resource of energy. It's not permanent as the sun, and it's not non-renewable as petrol, but it is renewable because we can generate electricity by many methods. Solar heater and solar oven, as you see, that depend on the sun as permanent source, and it is non-polluted. It is the cleanest form of energy. Number 3, gas or petrol stuff that depends on a petroleum derivatives, مشتقات البترول, and it is a non-renewable. One day they will vanish, and they are polluted. They make pollution for the air and environment. Gas oven depends on natural gas. It's good, it's clean, but also it is polluted. Not 100% clean, but it is polluted. It is non-renewable because it is one of petrol derivatives. It is a non-renewable resource, and it is polluted. Coal fire depends on coal, فحم. Coal resource that is non-renewable resource, and it is polluted. It causes the most pollution, coal. Solar energy, the origin of most energies. Do you know, my dear student, that solar energy is the origin of most energies? Yes. Give reason for that. Solar energy is considered the cleanest, cheap source of energy. Do you know why? Cheap because we don't pay money. It's a gift from God. It's the cleanest because it doesn't pollute the environment. But now let's talk about another question. Give reason. Sun or solar energy is considered the mother of energy or the main source of energy on the earth, because it changes into other energy. Number 1, it changes into chemical energy that is stored in plants by photosynthesis process. As you know, my dear student, as we studied before, the plant absorbs carbon dioxide gas and water and make a chemical reaction inside its factor that is called leaf of the plant by absorbing sunlight. Sunlight is the source of heat the source of energy that the plant need to change what? To change carbon dioxide gas and water into food and oxygen. So food contains energy. This energy transferred from the solar energy into chemical energy stored in food through photosynthesis process. So the solar energy is the source of chemical energy. It changes into chemical energy in plants by photosynthesis process. Number two, also solar energy, it changes into what? Into chemical energy again, that is stored in petroleum and oil, and coal. Do you know that petroleum oil comes from what? From the old dead animals that were buried millions of years ago beneath the Earth's surface, and by pressure and heat it changes into oil, petroleum oil. But where the heat of these animals, where the heat inside their body comes from food, and where heat comes inside food comes from what? From the sun, from solar energy. So solar energy is the resource of chemical energy inside the oil and coal. Number three, heat energy. Number three, solar energy, it changes into heat energy, as in solar furnace and solar heater. Number four, electric energy. We can convert solar energy into electric energy, as in solar cell or solar batteries. As you see, this is the shape of, or the photo of, the solar cell, that we can use it to change solar energy into electric energy. Electric energy can change into, which changes into light and heat energies, as in the electric lamp. When you get approach to the electric lamp, you feel hot because it changes electric energy into heat, and you see its light because it changes electric energy into light energy. Number B, kinetic energy. Electric energy, it changes into kinetic energy, as in the sewing machine, electric fan, and motors, all motors. And also we can change electric energy into sound energy, my dear students, and electric bell. You just press on the button of the electricity, and electricity changes into sound. And in TV. Okay, number C, the last point for this day, heat energy. Electric energy, it changes into heat energy, as in electric heater. By this point, my dear student, we reached the end of this episode, and keep in touch on our official page, مدرسة صفحة رسمية جروب مدرسة على الهواء on Facebook. See you next week.